Hey lover, welcome to today's Cuppa with Katie show. It's been a little while since I've been with you. It's been a month, in fact, and there's a reason for that. And if you do follow me on social media, you'll notice that I'm in quite a different environment to the environment I've been in for a couple of weeks. So I've just come back from Australia, where I wasn't rugged up, sat in front of an open fire. Funny that it's summertime there. We were having like 30-degree heat. It was gorgeous. I was at the beach swimming every day. So I'm not doing that now. Although I have been down to the beach a couple times since getting back. I haven't braved it to get in the water. I did actually do an ice bath when I was in Sydney. I did this amazing one Sunday morning. We went down to the beach. We met, I think, 6:30, 7 in the morning. Met this whole group of people. We did this amazing breathwork session, followed by ice baths on the beach. It was absolute, like these kind of transportable ice baths. It was amazing. But there was something about, okay, it was a hot summer's day. I mean, it still was very cold and it still hurt a little bit to get into the ice bath, but that just felt easier. Here, when the wind chill had it at -2, -3 this morning when I was at the beach with the dog, yeah, I wasn't really rushing to get into that cold water. Although I have on Christmas Day with James done cold water swimming at the same beach. So it is possible, but I'm not quite there yet. And my body's still in shock for changing hemispheres and so on. So anyway, it's so lovely to be back with you. I took a break from the show while I was in Australia because I wanted to be really present to that experience. And yeah, at which I was. Oh, hello, darling. You're walking in the fields right now. It's pretty chilly out there, isn't it? I just, because James is away, he's in America for a week. So we've literally, we're ships in the night. I was in Australia, come back for a couple of days to see him, and then he's gone off to the States. But I was just cutting wood and I've got an ouchie on my finger. I managed to kind of axe myself a little bit at the same time. Not ideal. Anyway, it's really, really lovely to be with you. Yeah, Lindy's all wrapped up. Good for you. I'm glad to hear it. If you're watching live, please say hi. I love to know who I'm chatting with. If you are on the replay, please type #replay because I like to, again, keep tabs on who's watching. No, I don't keep tabs. It's just interesting to me to see who shows up. And if you have any questions for me or any comments as I'm chatting today, feel free to use the comments to ask me anything. I am here and I will do my best. So let me have a sip of tea before I dive into this subject of self-love. Now, 1 minute. It's a nice cup of tea. It occurred to me today when I was thinking about what I wanted to come on and chat about that, oh, who's that? Who's at home wrapped up? You have to give StreamYard permission to use your name. It occurred to me as I was thinking about what I would like to talk about today that I haven't specifically spoken to self-love in quite some time. I founded the School of Self-Love, must be, let me think, 14 years ago now. I wrote a book called The Self-Love Affair, A Woman's Guide to a Daring and Mighty Life. Self-love is at the root of every single thing that I coach and teach about, that I write about, that I speak about. Self-love is the root of it all. It's foundational. I am, as you probably are aware, I'm a master transformational coach. I'm a therapeutic coach. I'm a love and dating mentor. Lots of titles. I could keep going on. Empowered feminine embodiment coach. We could go on and on. All of that work is rooted in self-love. If you are single, desiring to call in your soulmate, the route to meeting your person is self-love. It's about loving yourself so that you become the vibrational match for somebody else who's going to treat you in the way that you treat yourself. It's been really interesting to me to watch social media lately, and self-love is it's a real conversation. I remember when I first started working in this space, to talk about self-love required a bit of explanation, especially to men. There was a little discomfort around the topic. There was like self-love. Well, we're talking about masturbation. Like, what is this thing, self-love, that this woman is talking about? Um, it's now so mainstream. It has become so normalized. You know, my journey working in the self-love space has really, really evolved over the years. I don't have to explain myself anymore. Uh, and yet, I still want to go into a little bit of detail today around what I believe self love is and how self love is oftentimes tough love. It's not all about being kind and gentle with yourself. I mean, it's all okay. It's always about being kind and gentle with yourself. And sometimes you got to give yourself a kick up the ass as well, kindly and gently and with love. Right? Otherwise, you don't expand and grow in this life. So I was saying I've been watching social media lately, and how this topic of self-love is coming up. I've created an entire Spotify playlist now called Self-Love, which features tons, like a myriad of modern day pop artists singing about self-love. It's a thing. It's totally normalized. It's very exciting to me, actually. I've been watching Pamela Anderson's feed lately because I watched her documentary, and I'm a 70s baby, so I was going through my teenage years let me think about this, my late teens in the early 90s, end of the 80s, which is when Pamela Anderson was a thing. Like, she was the pinup girl of the time when I was a teenager. And there's a lot that I thought I knew about Pamela Anderson until I watched the documentary. And I discovered a whole other side to this woman, which I was just so inspired by. And she is speaking, if you go check out her Instagram feed, she's speaking a lot about self-love and about how it's played such an important part in her journey and her, coming home to herself. Oh, Joe, hi, darling. Lovely to have you. Yes, I see that you're wrapped up at home. Yeah, it's a bit of a chilly one today, isn't it? So yeah, if you haven't seen the Pamela Anderson documentary, highly recommend it. And yeah, follow her on Instagram. It's interesting. She is raw and real and vulnerable, and speaks highly of self-love and how it's been a big part of her transformation. So let's talk about self-love. Before I came on, I just sat in front of the fire, which is really going for it now. Hold on a minute. Let me just turn this down a bit. Burn my fingers. Okay, that's not going to work. All right. Don't want to burn my hands. Yeah, I sat in front of the fire and I just very quickly, I mean, it doesn't take much for me to brain dump what self-love is about. Because like I said, this is a space I've been occupying for quite some years. But I just brain dumped some top things that came to me, and I'm sure more will come to me. And if you have anything as I'm speaking, like, I would love for you to use the comments and tell me what self-love means to you. Yeah, what does self-love mean to you? Please take the time to stop and consider that and share in the comments. Do it for other women who are a little new to this space. Inspire each other, motivate each other. I would really, really love to read what self-love means to you. And then even more specifically, it would be fun to read how you can celebrate that you have loved yourself today. Like, what have you done today? What have you committed to today? What action have you taken? What action have you not taken, perhaps, to demonstrate self-love today? Please, can you share in the comments, whether you're on replay or watching here live, how have you loved yourself today? Or what does self-love mean to you? Please to be sharing. So I would say that I loved myself today by mixing up my routine. I woke up this morning and it was freezing cold. Oh, here comes the cat. She's going to say hello. Hi, Luna. Can you come in? I needed to mix up my routine today. So every single morning, self-love invites me to ask myself, how do I feel and what do I need? Basic. That's just like my basic go-to practice. I don't even have to do the practice. It's my new normal. It's the way I speak to myself. I wake up every day. How do I feel? What do I need? Self-love invites us to ask ourselves that question. And today I was like, well, I need to switch up my routine. I haven't had a routine for a while because I've been in Australia, and I guess coming back to return to a routine has felt really uncomfortable. I don't want routine. And it's very cold. And I'm adjusting to that. And so just slapping on the layers and doing the same old dog walk every day that I would usually do ain't going to cut it for me. So I've got a little bit more organized, and I went to the beach this morning and I had a beautiful walk on the beach with the dog. And I took myself to a beautiful cafe, had a lovely pot of tea, great big hunk of carrot cake, and did a little bit of work. Before coming home, I had a call that I needed to get back for. But I had the whole morning at the beach. It was gorgeous. It was freezing, but that's how I loved myself today so far. I also began my day loving myself through my diet and nutrition. So I'm following a fairly specific plan at the minute in terms of the nutrition I get into my body first thing. And I prepared a couple of smoothies, one I had for breakfast, one I'll have this afternoon before I go to the gym. It's got protein in it and all that good yummy stuff. You know, I start my day taking care of myself nutritionally, right? So that right there are just a couple of quick examples of what self-love is in action, right? It's action. We have to take self-loving action. We have to love ourselves enough to ... fill in the blanks. So here we go. I've connected with my heart all through my yoga practice. Lindy, that's beautiful. Yes, right there, that is self-love. I've stopped working to join this live. Right there, that is self-love. I love that. I'm putting myself first. I've learned to make my health a priority. I work out first thing in the morning to start my day and taking care of me. Yes, I love that. Putting yourself first. Absolutely. That is self-love. I know there's more people here live than are commenting. So if you would love to share how you're loving yourself today or what self-love means to you, please can you share in the comments? Inspire me and inspire everybody else. Acupuncture first thing, smoothie and healthy lunch. Love it. This is all self-love. Beautiful. And I think it's important, like some of these practices that you're sharing now, it might be easy to just kind of get on with it as just something that you do. But there's real power in just stopping and acknowledging, I did that because I love myself. It's just taking the action and actually embodying it through acknowledgement, through feeling how it feels to have done that for yourself. Is it a sense of self-pride? Is it a sense of like, I'm really valuing myself? But to actually do something and then stop and acknowledge it really allows us to embody and even more fully receive the experience, if that makes sense. Lorraine's here. Hi, honey. Today's self-love, starting the day with a gentle yin yoga and Pilates session via YouTube and just been for a walk by the beach. Amazing. I have a feeling the beach is where you are a little more sandy and easy to walk on than my beach this morning, which was just rocks. It's a bit hard on the ankles, you know, the British beaches. So yeah, so sometimes self-love is about choosing to like mix up your routine somewhat. That's what I did this morning. I'm looking down because I've got my phone, made a few notes. It's always about listening to your intuition. Always. Self-love invites you to listen to your gut, to feel into what is true for you. And then self-love invites you to take inspired action, depending on what that intuition is. And our intuition isn't always easy to listen to. Like for me this year, my intuition was to stop. Dun, 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 to stop. Now I'm pretty good at having, well, I would say I'm very good at having a decent work-life balance. I mean, to me, being an entrepreneur, there's kind of a blur there. It's kind of all one and the same. But what I don't do is work all the time, right? And yet, to have the intuition to stop has been a very, very brave act of self-love to follow through on. So I'm still working. I'm still showing up in my business and for my clients, but I'm doing the bare minimum. And I'm spending more time focused on planning our move to America, which is happening in 4 months and counting. There's the big countdown happening in our house now. We're at the 4-month mark. I am very intentionally taking care of myself. Now, it's typical, isn't it? Booms. A UPS truck has just pulled up outside, which means Boomer feels it important to protect me. And this could go on for a while. So I'm just going to carry on and try not to pay the dog attention. And now I've forgotten what I was saying. Let me have a sip of tea and see if it comes back. Yes, listening to my intuition, putting on my big girl pants, and bravely choosing to stop, which, as I was saying, has meant that I'm focused more on my general physical well-being. Like, really, that's been a huge part of this, because I can't work at the level that I'm used to working with the hormonal shifts I've had going on. So I'm taking some time to adjust to that and not push through it, but to be kind to myself. I'm taking time for our relocation. There's a lot to be done around that, even just a lot of thinking around it, but also a lot of feeling around it. Like, it's a massive move. It's a huge energetic shift to relocate countries at the scale that we're doing it. And I know my intuition is telling me I need time to allow my energy to adapt to that change. And because my work is so deeply intuitive and my work is so felt, I can't give to it in the same way as I usually would while my energy is shifting to another continent. Hello, darling. I've got the cat here. I've got the dog here. All the love. Oh, you've got your ball as well. We're not playing ball now, darling. Not now. We did that all morning, didn't we? Yes. Bye-bye. Go on. I'm not playing ball with you now. What are they like, these pets? Right. What's another note I made about self-love? Self-love invites you to stop allowing yourself to succumb to sabotaging behavior. Stop it. You know what you do. You know the disempowering habits, the self-sabotaging behavioral stuff you've got going on. You know what it is. Love yourself enough to stop that. Choose a different way. Practice the other way. Practice the self-loving way until it becomes your new normal. It will be uncomfortable for a while until it's not. But love yourself enough to persist with creating behavioral shifts, with developing new habits of behavior. Self-love calls you to that. Self-love really freaking holds you accountable. When you make self-love your North Star, you don't really have any choice except to expand into the best version of you, the woman that you came here to be. And that's not always a very easy journey, but the persistence that self-love invites you to, the determination it invites you to, makes it worth it. Self-love. Yes, self-love invites you to give yourself what your soul craves. I held a little workshop at the beginning of January in London for a bunch of my Love Lounge members. There's about 25 of us that were able to come to the actual event. And that was one of the questions on a worksheet that I gave out. You know, we were doing some visioning for 2023. And one of the questions was, what does your soul crave? I mean, to me, that was the most powerful question, and every single other question that was part of this worksheet and this process becomes irrelevant when you ask yourself that question, because your soul knows. And self-love invites you to tap into your spiritual self and ask yourself, what do I need? What does my soul crave? And again, I've told you my answer to that for this year was to stop and to develop trust. Trust is my word for this year. Just stop. You might have noticed we are now in March. I haven't done a launch this year. There's been no massive business action taking place. I'm acknowledging my body's need to stop, to slow down, to change the pace. And it has had me feel really, really uncomfortable at times. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, has it been worth it. And then when we listen to our soul's calling, it's amazing the miracles and, the possibilities that begin to open up. There is no way I would have been able to go to Australia had I not listened to my soul calling to stop. It was almost like my soul knew exactly, not almost, I know this to be true. My soul knew exactly what was coming for the month of February. Now, usually February, February 14, Valentine's Day. I'm always launching on Valentine's, always. It makes business sense for me to launch on Valentine's. This time last year, I was in Portugal, doing my 5-day Meet Your Soulmate challenge. It was fantastic. It was hugely successful. I'm not doing that this year. Had I had a 5-day challenge launch on the calendar, probably it would have been somewhere overseas. Had that been in the diary, I wouldn't have been able to respond in the way I needed to respond and get to Australia within the time frame I was needed there at the last minute, unplanned. I couldn't have done that. Listening to my soul meant I'm living on course for me, for now. And there's a lot about the way I run my business now that, I've put in the hard yards for over a decade. Like, I've really put in the hard yards. So I am in that beautiful position now to be able to say, I'm off for a while. And I have some beautiful people that keep things ticking over, and I can still pay my bills easily. So our soul knows what we need. I'm taking a little break to join you on this live. Plus, I'm booked in for a full body massage this evening. Hello, that's very nice. Good for you. Lorraine, I've just spent 6 weeks in Spain and my soul just wanted me to walk in nature. So I did 2 or 3 times a day with a cute dog. I feel so energized and alive now. So good. I feel you. Yeah, there's nothing more high vibrational than putting ourselves in nature, is there? That's something I'm really, really learning about myself through this piece of stopping. I was talking with my bestie girlfriend yesterday about this, about how my body physically responds when I'm not in a high vibrational situation. So self-love actually calls me to very, very specifically put myself in high vibrational situations, to put high vibrational food into my body, to surround myself with high vibrational people. Like, self-love invites me to that. It holds me accountable to that. I flew back from Australia business class and I've got this lower back thing going on. Right now it's feeling pretty good. But for the last few days, it hasn't felt good at all. On the flight home and for several hours after the flight, I had 0 back pain. None. And it's become something I've kind of got used to living with. But I tell you what, there was something about the vibrational frequency of flying at that level that so aligned with me. It wasn't until I got off the plane, had a couple of hours of realizing, oh my God, my back is great. It doesn't hurt in the slightest. Yes, Jen, exactly. That I realized I need to be like aligned with high vibrational stuff. And that's exactly what Jen and I were talking about yesterday. Right. What else have I got on my list of notes here? Self-love invites you to take action on difficult jobs. Get the difficult stuff done. Love yourself enough to take that action. It might be getting a tax return done. But I know for me, when I'm on top of that. Once upon a time I wasn't, and I felt unsafe a lot of the time. I felt financially uncertain a lot of the time. But, a few years ago, I've got into a very strong practice with my accountant. Everything's lined up. We've got all the documents, all the tools and the systems and yada, yada. Now I feel safe. But in the beginning, it was really tough to get that set up. It took a lot of, I really had to put my big girl pants on. But through loving myself enough to do that, I now have safety and certainty in that aspect of my life. I've had many a client. Oh my goodness, really, Boomer? We're going to do this here? Darling, I'm trying to be live. Go over here, out the way. You're too big. Good boy. He just wants to be a part of it. I've had clients who have had to love themselves enough to book that doctor's appointment, that thing they've been avoiding. I've had clients specifically who are getting to that point in life, they haven't had children, but they didn't want to book the doctor's appointment to discover they're in menopause. It was really, really, really hard for them. But self-love invites you to take brave action sometimes. And it's who you become in the process when you take that brave action. That's the gold. That's the gold. In fact, that makes me feel quite emotional because I think I've hit on something very powerful there. When you invite self-love in as your North Star, which, as we're already discovering through this chat, is sometimes, it's a kick up your own ass. It's taking difficult action, making difficult choices, perhaps. Who you become in the process of that uncomfortable experience is why the hell you were put on this planet in the first place. You becoming the woman you came here to be is your soul growth. This is your soul expansion. It's what you came here for. Self-love holds you accountable to that. Can you feel that? I'm feeling that. Really feeling that. Okay. What else is self-love inviting us to? I touched on this just a minute ago, being mindful of your environment and who you spend time with. Are you in an environment that is self-loving? If you're not, change it. Are you spending time with people that have you feel good, that are high vibrational, that are on your same frequency? If not, change that up. Again, I was talking with Jen yesterday about vibration, and I've been reflecting on it even more. And even, for me, it's like there's a bunch of flowers there, you can see. It's buying flowers and putting them around the house, placing crystals around the house in certain places, diffusing my really beautiful essential oils about the house, the artwork I choose to put up on the walls, like all of these things raise the vibration of my environment. And for me, that is a supremely self-loving act. So if you're in an environment that just feels a little low vibe, it might only be requiring you to go buy yourself a nice bunch of flowers and burn some nice oils, chuck a crystal down your bra, right? But this is the invitation of self-love, is to up level, to maintain a higher frequency. I mean, look, we're talking about self-love. It's the word love, love is the highest vibration, isn't it? Something I'm hearing a lot from my women clients at the moment is that they are in fear. So, we'll be talking about something and why they haven't done that thing, or what they feel is holding them back, and they blanket it with what's fear. And I get it. And fear is the lowest vibration. But and I'm going off a little bit of a tangent here. I think what I want to say is, when I hear someone say it's fear, it's such and I say this with love, it's a blanket statement, get out clause for not having to be brave and suck it up and do the thing. And by doing the thing, you'll become the woman. It's who you will become in the process. But when I hear someone say, well, I'm like, why aren't you doing that thing? And they say, well, I think it's fear. Fear's coming up. I'm quite bored of hearing people say that. It's fear. I get it though. Like I do it too. It's fear. I've got all sorts of things that make me fearful and scared. And self-love invites us to not allow that to be our excuse and a rational comfort zone to hang out in. Because it's very easy to say to someone, well, I'm scared. And you will get, yeah, of course you're scared. I get that. I would be scared too. Yeah, it's scary. And then nothing happens. Nothing gets done. You just get to what's the word, to what is it when you get someone to not coerce, not collaborate, corroborate your story? Perhaps that's what I'm trying to say. It's very easy to get people on board with your fear because we all know it. We all understand it. But for me now, where I'm at, I'm very bored of hearing it. And I'm bored of hearing myself ever say it. I'm scared. I'm fearful. It's bullshit. Self-love invites me to love myself enough to put on my big girl pants and take the brave, courageous action. To put up with the discomfort. To change the tape. To up-level my mindset. To not allow myself to drop into a victim. Like whatever it is that I'm being asked to do. When we choose self-love, we're aligning with that vibration of love. It's the highest frequency. Every time you allow yourself to align with fear, it's the lowest frequency and change doesn't happen there. When we hang out there, we are stuck. When we hang out there, we get sick. We have no energy. We surround ourselves with people at that vibration too. And that's a bit icky and super low vibe. And yeah, we will be hanging out with people who will corroborate our fear stories, make us feel like we belong in our sickness and our sadness and our low vibing. Self-love holds you accountable. What else did I put in here? Yes, self-love invites you to be mindful of what you choose to listen to read, or to watch. Right? It invites you to consciously and intentionally choose what you absorb best that you can. When I was going to the beach today, I was listening to podcasts on how to be a millionaire. And it was great. It was just super high vibrational. Talking about abundance and what's possible. It was awesome. I could have listened to the news. Right? So what are you listening to? What are you reading? What are you watching? How could you love yourself more in terms of what you're digesting? Self-love will invite you to invest in yourself, for sure. And what is that? It could be investing in your monthly supplements to support your health and well-being and nutrition. It could be investing in a gym membership. It could be investing in a personal coach. It could be investing in an online course. What is it for you? My trip to Australia was an investment on so many levels. But self-love invites us to invest in ourselves. So put our money where our mouth is. Yeah. Self-love invites you into mental mastery. So it invites you to be very conscious of the thoughts that you're thinking, the meaning that you're making of things, the belief systems that you have. It invites you to rewire that wherever appropriate. Again, that takes a lot of persistence and a lot of determination as you rewire those brain synapses. You can do it. Self-love invites you to strengthen that muscle. It invites you into emotional mastery as well. It invites you to notice when your victim archetype is activated, for example, and how to love that part of you. so that you can feel more emotionally empowered. It invites you, when we're talking about emotional mastery, self-love invites you to feel your feelings, to let out those tears, to scream that rage and anger in a healthy, safe environment. Self-love invites you to deepen your spiritual connection, to taking the time to sit and meditate or journal or walk on the beach and connect to your higher self, to your angels, your guides, your passed on loved ones. However you connect with your spiritual self, self-love invites you to do more of that, to be led from that. Self-love also invites you to take care of your physical body. So, it's a little bit more than a bubble bath, as we have seen through this discussion today. And a bubble bath is self-care, if that's what you're called to do. I had one a couple days ago. It was gorgeous. Candles, essential oils, salt, the whole thing. Delicious. And self-love is so much more than that. But to go back to self-love is about taking care of your physical body. Yeah, it's about checking in. What does your body need? What support does it need? What could it do without? What do you need to say no to? What should you be saying yes more to? And so we've covered lots and lots and lots, and there is lots more. Essentially, if you're being invited to up-level any element of your life, whether it's your physical self, your emotional self, your mental self, your relationships, your work, your relationship to money, whatever it is, self-love will be the route to that, because it will challenge you to let go of anything that is further down the vibrational scale towards fear. Put on your big girl pants, take the action that's required, go through that period of discomfort until it becomes your new normal, and move up the vibrational scale towards love. When we're vibrating there, we're aligned with source, and anything is possible. So a pretty freaking great place to be. Just requires a little bit of persistence. So I would love to know how that lands for you. If you have any comments on what I've shared, please chuck them in the comments. I would love to hear what self-love means to you and how you are loving yourself today. And if you want more when it comes to self-love and tackling all that I've just spoken about and some, come and join the Love Lounge. This is where we are doing the work. This is where we're really allowing self-love to guide us, and we are healing and we are evolving and we are together becoming the women we came here to be. And the transformations I'm seeing in the women in that space are incredible. Those that have been in there since its inception, which was we opened the Love Lounge in January 2020. There's women in there. In fact, most of the women that joined right then are still in the membership now. That's how much they're getting out of it. They're not leaving, because it's such an amazing space to keep coming back to for coaching from me, for our women's circles. We have happy hours with Sarah twice a month, for the masterclasses where I bring in incredible world-class experts to speak on all sorts of different topics. We now have 3 years worth of masterclasses in our library. So there's just so much value in there. I would love for you to join if you aren't already a member. It's £49 a month. It's kind of a no-brainer. It's £49 a month for access to so many resources, to 2 coaching calls a month with me, to 2 sisterhood, like women's circles with Sarah, the actual Facebook group where women are posting, asking questions, getting support. I do a Ask Me Anything every single week. So if you didn't come on the coaching call to ask your question, or take it to a happy hour with Sarah, or if you haven't already posted it in the group to get support from your sisters, you can do a post specifically for me, and every week I will go live and I answer your questions. There's so much support in there for £49 a month. To me, that's a no-brainer. So if you've been thinking about it, come on over and test it out. It's a beautiful space. And the link is above here somewhere. All right, my darlings, have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. I love to talk all things self-love. And if you have any questions for me that perhaps have kind of come out of what we talked about here today, by all means, email them to me or comment below with the question. And perhaps it's something that I can answer on a future Cuppa with Katie show. All right. Love you tons. Have a good day. Ciao.